Once again, good morning, everyone. And we're down to not yet the last three, the last four lessons. We're now in lesson 5.2. And 5.2 is about quantitative data analysis. It's still a part of the data collection procedure from our data collection last time. Now we'll check on how to analyze what we have gathered. Today's memory verse is found in Jeremiah 17, verse 10. It says, I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. Now, at the end of this lesson, we'll be able to widen our vocabulary, communicate worldviews using newly learned words, trace the stages of quantitative data analysis, differentiate qualitative data analysis techniques and organize them in a tabular manner, use graph to show frequency, calculate the measures of central tendency, and use descriptive stat in analyzing data. Sounds too many, right? But let's simplify it for today's lesson. Now, our venture with me, it will help us to widen our vocabulary. Now, can you tell me what the following underlined word means? For example, let me start with Abby. For example, the word is alternative. Choose one from the several alternative solutions from the guidance counselor. What do you think the word alternative means?
Substitute.
Come again, Abby.
Substitute, ma'am, or
Okay, substitute or another solution. Very good. Next, let's have Kaiser. After collating those pages, staple them, please.
Gathering, ma'am.
Oh, very good. After gathering. So it's not only that after gathering the data, we could also say after collating the interview or the survey questionnaires. You have new words, right? Collate. Next one, let's have Bryant. Go ahead, go straight ahead. Do not make the mistake of deviating from the route we agreed upon.
So, ma'am?
Deviating. Sige be. Let's use context clues. Go straight ahead. Do not make the mistake of deviating from the route we agreed
More
upon.
ka ng kuan mo. Muli ka, turn away.
Very good. From changing.
Tama, ma'am.
Yes, that's correct. Or rerouting. It's the same as do not deviate from school rules. So you need to follow the route. The next one is still with us. We have John, right? Okay, let's ask John to do number 4. Without drawing the graph, you can't tabulate the test results. What do you think the word tabulate means? Where's John? How about Shimei? Can you help John? Without drawing the graph, you can tabulate the test results.
you can record.
Oh, very good. That's it. Like you can enter, you can encode, you could not, encode. Encode is a very good synonym of that. So if you say tabulate, it means encode. The last one, some consider roses, chocolates, heart-shaped candies as codes for love. John, can you tell us what does the word codes mean?
Symbol.
Oh, very good. That's a symbol. So if we say coding, it means We are symbolizing something. Now, why do we ask you to have our vocabulary improvement? For example, I'm not so good in writing. So sometimes when I write my research paper, the words are just repeating. And my teacher, I mean, my advisor would always tell me, why are the words always repeating? You can use other words like this one, like what we learned today. So let me chat more of the words that we can have. For example, um, a very common transition statement. However, if you say however, it can also be on, on the contrary, in contrast. What else? On the other hand, uh, those are some words that you can use in change for however. Dili kay however ang first paragraph, pagka next paragraph, however ragyapon. Next one, if we say you want to add, very common, moreover, diba? Moreover, you can change that to in addition to. Yeah. We say, moreover, Bondara 2020 said that, pwede mo siya in addition to what Yakon 2021 said. So in addition to, you can also place, what else? Furthermore. One of my panel members told me that further is different from furthermore. If you say furthermore, it's the same with moreover, like you want to add something. But if you say further, it refers to some distance. So further. But in research, the appropriate word is furthermore. Now, let us have the start of a chat with the expert. Today, let's talk about quantitative data analysis. For some, they say it's time consuming. Remember, what's a quantitative data? A quantitative data deals with numerical data or data that you can code, you can symbolize as numbers. So in qualitative data analysis, you need to do for examination, you need to classify your data, you will calculate your data, and you can also have some graphical recording. But there are also some, this might be looking too mathematical, but there's also beauty in looking at the results in terms of numbers. Now, what are the steps that we need to quantify data or to do quantitative data analysis? The first is, we call it the coding system. Actually, there's only two steps. The first step is we prepare the data, and the second is we analyze the data. Now, how do we prepare the data? For example, you're already done with your questionnaire, and then you will now analyze your data. So two steps: we prepare the data, then we analyze the data. In the preparation of the data, we have two things to do. First is coding system. What do you mean by coding system? If you say coding system, it means that we will change our variables, the words, into some code. For example, let me share with you my Excel file. This is a raw Excel file, and I hope you'll learn from this. For example, your problem will be the relationship between gender and academic performance. So in your academic performance, wait for a while. Academic performance. Let me do first both coding and data tabulation. So in your first column, you will have, again, in the first column, you need to have example, student 1, student 2, student 3, student 4, or you say respondent 1, respondent 2, or participant 1, participant 2, up to the last student. So let's go with coding. For example, you have academic performance. It's numerical, right? So you can just have 85, 90, 92, 95 until the last student, 84. Next, again, our study is about the relationship of gender and academic performance. For the second one, we have gender. But for gender, you could not write it as male, female. No, because again, in quantitative data analysis, we need to have numerical codes. So we can say that, okay, I'll assign 1 to male, and for female, I'll assign 2. So how will you code it? Example, student number 1 is female, 2. Number 2, male. Number 3, male. Number 4, female. Number 50, male. That one. That's how we code our data. Or another, the relationship between religion and spirituality level. So we could not code religion as Adventist, Catholic, Baptist, Iglesia ni Cristo, but instead we can assign numerical codes. So for example, say Adventist, code it as 1. Next, Roman Catholic, we code it as 2. Then Baptist, we code it as 3. Then INC, we code it as 4. So once you'll type for the religion column, you can code it as 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, like that. So that's how we do coding. Now, what are other ways to code? Let's have this one. For example, I'll go back to the sleep quality index. So for example, question number 1. Here's how you do it. Example, strongly agree in a Likert scale, 5. Agree, 4. Moderate, undecided, 3. Disagree, 2. Strongly disagree, 1. You need to be very careful on what we call reverse scoring. Now, what is a reverse scoring method? It's a statement that should be reversely scored. Usually, it's a negatively stated statement. That's why if you have your instrument, you need to check what items should be reversely scored. Now, why do we have reverse scoring? For example, let's go back to my favorite study, attitude towards mathematics. Example, my question number 1 is, I like to attend math class. So if I'll say strongly agree, I'll get a 5. If the second says only agree, 4. If the third one says strongly agree, 5. Strongly disagree, 1. But for example, my next statement will be, I do not like to attend math classes. You see, if I'll say strongly agree, that will also affect my question number 1 because they are opposite. So instrument developers would say, for question number 2, you do reverse scoring because the statement is negatively stated. So what will you do? For example, I'll say, I strongly disagree. But instead of 1, since we do reverse scoring for the statement alone, you will encode 5. Again, my statement is, I do not like to attend math classes. So if I'll say I strongly disagree, 1, you will reversely score it. It makes it 5. So it means that the higher the number is, the more positive my attitude towards mathematics is also. So that's how you do it, like that, until the last question. Please, when you code your data, again, student number must be here. Because if you'll do it the other way, like student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on top, I will ask you to code again, because we could not analyze that in the software if you'll code it differently. So any questions before I go further? No questions? Now, let's go to the next one. Data tabulation. Actually, once you collect the data, the time-consuming part is in the coding system on how you will encode your data. But once you're done with the coding system, actually it's very easy. The software can easily run your data. I'll talk about that on Tuesday on statistical methods and data analysis. The next part is data tabulation. Actually, data tabulation is used for easy classification and distribution of numbers based on a specific criterion. You have to collate them with the help of a graph called table. So what happens in data tabulation? That one I told you a while ago, I encoded the data and we could start classifying for our data. Here's an example of a table. This is only for descriptive statistics. But remember, I told you that gender must be, the exact gender must be reported in the sample in chapter 3 after collecting your data. So gender, just the percentage, the course or the strand, the school, if you are considering different schools, then the yes and the no, the role, and the satisfaction level. But actually, this is not mandatory to have these ones. It depends again on your research question, on your statement of the problem. This is just to help us visualize on what type of participants do you have. Next, the last one is analyzing the data. There are 2 ways to analyze the data, or should I say, there are 2 types of statistics, descriptive and inferential. If you say descriptive statistics, we simply describe the data. Example, what is the sleep quality index of students? High, moderate, low. That's simply describing. Or say, what is the level of academic performance? Outstanding, satisfactory, fair. That's simply describing. Or another, what is the reading comprehension level of students? Or what is the stress level of students? We simply describe the data. But in the other one, in the advanced analytical methods, we start to make predictions. We check the relationship between the 2 variables. For example, is there a relationship between sleep quality and academic performance? With that question, when you check relationships, we use the advanced analytical methods. Or you ask, is classical music having an effect on reading comprehension level? You're checking already two variables this time. So we use the advanced analytical method. Or you might ask, what is the factor that will predict academic performance? Is it gender, religion, study habits, or um, the mode of learning? So this one, you can have advanced analytical methods. Let's go first to the descriptive statistical technique, or for the descriptive statistics. Now, why do we use descriptive statistics? Because it provides the summary or the sequential data. Based on that, we can simply describe how do you describe the first variable? How do you describe students' attitude towards math? How do you describe their academic performance? So we use the summary, which is in descriptive statistics. Here are different ways to do it. First is the frequency distribution. The second is the measures of central tendency. The third is standard deviation. In frequency distribution, we just provide the percentage distribution. Example, do you find the senator's attendance in 2020 legislative sessions awful? So strongly agree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many said strongly agree? 14. That's 58%. How many said strongly disagree? 5. That's only, the code is 5. It's only 4. There's only 17%. So based on this descriptive statistics table, or the FDT, we can see that majority, 58%, agreed that the senator's attendance is awful. Or you say, how many would have positive attitude towards mathematics? How many percent? How many percent would have negative attitude towards math? This is simply, again, describing your data. Now, the next one is the measures of central tendency. What is found in the measures of central tendency? We have the mean. If you say mean, it's the average. How do you compute for the average? You add all numbers, then you divide by the number of entries. The median is the middle set of the data. The mode tells us what data keeps on repeating. I will not teach you the manual calculation because I believe I already did this in your statistics class. Instead, I'll integrate technology. Let's do it with Excel. For example, let's talk about academic performance. Can you now see my Excel? Give me a thumbs up, please. Because I might be just bluffing anything here and then you're not seeing anything. Okay. I'll just make random, okay? Random between, ako random is na siya 75 to 99. Okay, for example, these are set of grades or GPAs that you have found in while collecting your data. While collating your data. Now, how do we solve for the mean? Again, the mean is the average. So my question will be, what is the average grade or GPA of students? Now, I'll place here the command. The command for mean is average. So we say, oops, my data keeps on changing. Average, open parenthesis, this one. You select this data, close parenthesis, enter. If you want it to have into decimal places only, you see here, this one is increased decimal. The other one is decreased decimal. So let's decrease it to 2 decimal places. That's for the mean. Warning, my mean will change because this is a random number. So it might change from time to time. But if you'll fix the number, like 93, 89, oh, diba? Kasi change kay random ko. Sig-change akong mean. Let me fix it first. Bias kasi ma'am. Nganong line of 8 o line of 9. Ito ba 75, 78. There. That's the mean. Next, so we say that the average grade or the average GPA is 82.47. Next, median. What is the median? The median is the middle score. Now, the median is a data set divider. For example, if this is the median, it will divide your data to the top and the bottom. So top data and the bottom data. So our median as the middle score will divide our data. Now, before computing for the median, you need to arrange this from the lowest to the highest. And how to do that in Excel? You select all the data. Mamang doon siya ma-select imuha, kami mag-drag. You just have it in the first. With your computer, you press Control, Shift, then Control, then arrow down. It will lead you to the last number. Again, that point the cursor in the first number, Control, Shift, then arrow down. It will select all. The next one. You see here the sort and filter. You sort from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. No problem. Okay, 8 mali. 80 again. Sort, there. So for your median, the command will be middle. A median, not middle. Sorry. Wait for a while. Okay. So it's equals median, open parenthesis, you select all of this, the given data, close parenthesis, enter. You want 2 decimal places, increase the decimal, center. So our median is 87. Our middle score is 87. The last one is the mode. The mode is the most repeating. It means pinakasikat sa tanan ng GPA. Okay, now, actually you can do it manually. 75, there are 282s, 285s, 290s, and 393s. So our mode will be 93. But if you want to be very careful with that, we can have the mode. Open parenthesis. Select all the data, close parenthesis. There. Our mode is 93. Increase in 2 decimal places. Any questions with that one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. Now let's go to the standard deviation. The standard deviation will tell us what is the gap of the data from the mean. Diba? Sige, let's have a very brief review of our stat class. In our stat class, remember, we have the normal curve. Sorry, I'm not using my pen. Sorry. This is the mean. it is the valuable 0. The mean is the 0. Now, what tells us from the other standard deviation? What tells us from the difference? It is the gap is called standard deviation. Now, how to solve for the standard deviation? First, compute for the mean. Second, we need to have the difference, the deviation. The next one, we square the deviation. The fourth, we find the sum of the squares. Then, number 5, divide the sum of the squares by the number of the data items. Let me correct your module. That must be number of items minus 1 because this is a group data. Number 6, compute for the square root of the variance. Let me go back to my Excel file. For example, this is my given score, academic performance. How do I solve for the deviation? The next is the square of the deviation. Now, the deviation is the academic performance minus the mean, 86.26. But you see, since we make a formula with this, it will keep on moving. So I suggest you place a dollar sign with R and with 22, and it will not move. Kani siya o di siya mag-move. Pero if you want to be sure, sorry. But if you want to be sure, you can also place it this way. Equals this one minus. You type your mean, 86.26. There. Then copy, paste for all. That's our deviation. The square is, let's have it in square, so equals the deviation column to square it, caret. Nasa taas sa number 6, caret 2. It means squared. Enter. Copy, paste. If we'll solve for the sum of the squares, equals sum, sorry. Open parenthesis, close, select all the data, enter. So now, let me first stop my recording.